Welcome to episode 65 of Ring Talk, being edited this week by Kevin Campion, who's going to do a fantastic job with Shaw. Or he might not, we'll find out by now.
See how it looks.
See if he's on this wall behind me.
Yeah, see it looks good, you know. Kev's the master of everything.
Yeah, he is. He always surprises me.
A lot of skill sets, you know.
He sends through all the posters, doesn't he? I'm like, I didn't realise you had that.
He does that. I mean, Josh used to do a lot of the posters, but Josh has been studying, so he's not been doing. Kev's been doing all the posters, doing a brilliant job with the posters.
He is. Yeah, I never realised he had that in him. But
I don't think he's got kids. I didn't even know he's got that in him either.
Ask his missus, yeah. On that note, episode 65. Subscribe before we go any further. Subscribe.
Yeah, we need 114 more subscribers now.
Right. Log on to your wife's iPad.
Just log in, subscribe, please. Because once we get to 1,000, it generates money for boxers. We can put lots more footage, stuff on, and then we can generate some money. So when our fighters fight in title fights, we can generate some of the money from here to help them fund their title fights. It's really, really important.
Excellent. I went to, I thought I'd do it on my kids' tablets the other day. Went to subscribe on that. I realised it was logged in as me. And every now and then I put out a tweet that's just where they've accidentally hit a button on a YouTube video and it goes to share it on Twitter. They'll just put JJFK blah 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 and share it. Right, okay. Better sort that out. Anyway,
we've got a sponsor this week.
Yes, the one from Saturday night that you sent me over that I have forgotten.
They sponsor Denis Denikajev and Dave Sadler. Brilliant trainer, pleasure to deal with. We'll talk about Denis's fight later on.
Embassy Site Services.
Yeah.
Embassy Site Services. So if anyone out there needs site services, go to Embassy.
Because it was good. One of the people one of the sponsors who's been on here contacted me and they said they got some actual business from.
Really?
They actually got some business from this.
Awesome.
So it is important for you because the boxing community you want to support your own, the people that help the boxers, because these are the people that help when you go to the small hall shows. Forget about the ones that sponsor all the big boys because they're irrelevant. But the ones that sponsor the kids on the way up are the ones that we all need to look after.
Yep. Absolutely. And typically you'll find they're relatively small businesses that are helping out a local fighter. So help out a relatively small local business.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the right thing. Right, Saturday night, your call.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, I wasn't there, so you can give me a review of what
one by one. Shall I give them one by one? Okay, we'll start with Brad Pauls. There's been a lot of footage on that. He created history. First Cornishman to win a professional boxing title since Bob Fitzsimmons over 100 years ago, and he did it in devastating fashion. Darren Codona had never been hit like that in his life. Brad Pauls absolutely destroyed him. He went through the first round, took a little look. Round two, he stepped up, and when he hit Darren, Darren was under oxygen after the fight, which was where to let him come, but he was fine afterwards. He was hit so hard, and he told me he's never been hit so hard. And Brad was very, very good, devastating, but clinical.
The footage I saw of it, he folded him.
Yeah.
The kind of stoppage you don't see that often, the kind of pain of... And Codona's a tough man. I saw him in that Linus fight, and he took his...
Look what he did to Taylor Jones.
Yeah.
This is not a man that crumbles.
No, he took the punches off Linus, up until the 7th round or whatever, and I'm not taking anything away from Linus and comparing to Brad, but to do that in 3 rounds...
Well, there's different types of fighters. So great performance by Brad. I said to him after the fight, right, we're going to have to chat. He says, I'll need a holiday. I've had back-to-back camps. I've not stopped. I'm coming to see you in July.
He's going to go and get fat in Cornwall.
He said, I'm going to leave you a month and then I'm going to come and see you in July. So I'm about to see probably cruiserweight Brad at the beginning of July.
Pasty in hand.
Yeah, so no, good luck to him. He deserves some time off now. And now we can sit down and it's different. When you're the champion, you've got several routes you can go down because fighters are always looking for more money, and sometimes one of the big decisions you make is, do you take that fight because the money's there, or do you take that fight because it's the right career and you take the money till later and go for the bigger money? And that's the discussions now that I'll have with Brad.
Yeah.
And it's about what he wants to do, but he's in control of his career now.
So that's about whether he defends it or moves on down.
And if he defends it, does he defend it with an offer from somebody else to defend it? Does he defend it on his own terms down in the West Country?
Yeah.
What does he want to do? And that, to be honest, is only something that he can decide. There are money offers on the table for him to defend his title away from home. Yeah. I'm not going to say whether they're good or bad offers, but there are financial offers. that we've had indicators for. But there's lots of, this is my job as a financial advisor for Getting and a manager to try and go through them and make sure that the boxer makes the right decision, and try and make sure that, sometimes if you chase the higher, at this level, if you go for the most money for a fight, it can often bite you in the bum. Sometimes it's worth doing something that might not be as much money or might be the same money, but it makes more sense.
Yeah, longer term benefits.
Because the longer term benefits, Brad's 13-0, right? He's not at 13-0. He's not far off becoming a TV fighter. And when I say a TV fighter, I'm talking about a TV fighter where you're not signing your life away to become a TV fighter.
Especially when you start to see next gen shows and some of the Warren shows that are putting on Southern area fights or English title fights.
Yes. So you just got to be in a position, but you need to be in a position where you are in a bit where you're not having to sign stuff you don't want to sign with any promoter, that you're in control of your own destiny and you can basically make your own moves. So that's what you need to explain to fighter, because it's so hard for them when they're doing tickets and selling tickets and doing ticket deals. Really hard for them, I get it. But the problem is sometimes boxers jump too early from those sort of deals to these other deals that they get carried away with, and they, as you know from what you know, it can really bite them in the bum if they do the wrong thing at the wrong time.
And then they end up coming back and fighting on your shows.
They can do in the end, can't they?
They can.
Yeah, we'll pass on that for the moment.
But yeah, I mean, for Brad, it's such a bright future. And mention, by the way, whilst we're on it, to Unknown Boxers, the photography.
Yes.
For that photo they got of him with that
is an amazing
Cornish
picture,
flag.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, they do some brilliant stuff. If you don't follow them on Twitter, follow them.
Brilliant.
Unknown Boxers. I've seen some of the stuff that they do, and it's just a little bit different to what everyone else does, or they capture it different. I don't know what it is.
But brilliant though, wasn't it?
But,
brilliant picture.
Yeah, they've done some really, really good stuff. I'm so impressed with what they do.
So let's run through the rest of the card. Jake Ball he's now got I know the fight he's got on a Matchroom card next. Good, perfect fight for him, I think. And he just needed a win before he got that fight, and he looked good against Del Sharp. I mean, I watched him and I just thought we know he's had problems where he's been hit before.
Yeah.
But when you watch him as a boxer and his foot movement, he's just oozes class. And I think the move back to Terry Stewart is a massive advantage for him. Going up to Sheffield, really, I don't think suited him.
Yeah.
And I think, again, boxers make very bad career decisions at some point, and that was a bad one for him.
He's former Team GB, isn't he? I mean, he's, there's every element of class about him. He hasn't necessarily...
I didn't see him as a fit for the Ingle Gym at all.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a fit for the Ingle Gym.
He's more of an upright fighter.
Terry Stewart's a good coach for him. So he done really well. Adrian Redman, I thought, he beat Harry Matthews, won every round. When you see that Harry, I think he fought Ollie Patterson, who's a decent level fighter, and he took a couple of rounds off Ollie Patterson.
Yeah.
He said to me afterwards, I couldn't win a round off him.
Oh, right.
He just said he's decent. So, and Adrian's 5-0 now. I've got hopes for Adrian of winning a Southern area, definitely within the next 6 to 9 months. I think he's a decent level fighter and very awkward to box, long, rangy. He's a bit like, I'm not saying class-wise yet, the Lerone Richards type style that's never going to get people on the edge of the seat, but very effective and classy in what he does. So I think he can. I don't think even he knows where he's going to end up, and I'm convinced he can be a real quality fighter. Jack Hughes. He had to fight above his weight class because of his punch. But I spoke to Jack today, and I spoke to quite a few of the fighters today, and I said to him, he showed to me a much more mature boxing style, and he looked like somebody who was a pro, rather than somebody who had rushed to become a pro, which we know he did, and was learning on the job. But he started he was picking his shots, and he looked like he'd started to learn his trade.
Good.
So I've got, I'm working on a fight for Jack as we speak, and I might even have some news for that for next week, title fight. So Jack, I'm working on something for you, you know that. Muheeb Fazeldin looked really good.
His debut for you guys.
They were first beating Jamie Quinn, fighting way above his weights. I think he's got a lot of class. I think he can go a long way. And I think he's extremely talented. He's a TV fighter in the making. I really like him as a person. He's not. I say not normal. He's not the normal type boxer. He's got that aura about him.
He's got that arrogance about him. Not in a bad way.
But it's a nice arrogance.
Yeah. I mean, when you speak with him, you can tell he isn't an office worker.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way I can put it, is that you can tell there's something about him that just sets him apart slightly from 9 to 5
He's supremely talented, and what was really interesting about him when he came up to see me on Monday, because I do try and touch base with all our fighters, as you know, and he came up to the office on Monday and we had a good long chat and put a plan in place. Muheeb, by the way, it's another something we're working on for him, as you know as well. It's a great fight.
That is a good fight as well.
It's a good fight, isn't it? And for Muheeb, he's just got that type of style that will enthrall TV audiences. But he told me a story about his professional career so far, and he hasn't had a great. There's been things that have happened to him at various times that haven't been great. And I'll tell you something off camera afterwards, which will fall on the floor about. But it was just. But he's really decent, and he's really trying his best to do what he's got to do. We had a meeting. He wanted to go in a certain direction. I've twisted him to go a different direction.
Okay.
He was happy to do it, and that's the route we're going to go. And hopefully, we'll have some good news for him in the next week.
Awesome.
Next week. Neil Parry improved. I know you said this before. You know, he let his hands go, and I was sitting next. This is God's honest truth. I'm sitting watching Neil, who opened the show, and I'm sitting next to Barry Smith, and Barry Smith said, "Who's this kid?" And I said, Neil Parry. I said, "Why? He's really decent."
Yeah.
Now, that was.
I bet Barry Smith didn't put it like that.
No.
I've spoken with Barry many times.
Who fucking trains him?
I've had many conversations with Barry. They never go like that.
I think he was thinking, can I get in here and take him over? But Billy Rumble's doing a brilliant job with him. And but Neil, that's what I'm saying. For Neil, he put in a performance on that somebody watching at ringside turned around and said that. And that's the best thing I can give to him. I spoke to Neil today as well, and he's improving, and he really has shown signs now. He just needs to get some momentum going, but decent level fighter, Neil, and I was delighted for him and his trainer that he was able to put in such a good performance.
Which is great, because if I think back to the earliest fights of Neil, they weren't the most enthralling of fights, and we discussed it last week about failing to let his hands go. But if he's getting that confidence and that in-ring time to be able to learn, as you know, what his abilities are,
he's such a nice kid.
He is.
Right? He's such a nice kid, polite, respectful, and he deserves success. And I thought he'd done a brilliant job, and I thought I was really happy for him. And full credit to him, and and I hope that he moves on and goes on to bigger and better things. Billy Jackson fought. He's one of Iron Bout's fighters. He won on points. Nice, really nice kid. He won his fight, which is great. But a real nice kid and a pleasure to deal with. Alan Ratib, another kid, Graham Everett's kid. He was put on our show and he won his fight. It was again pleasure to deal with. Thanks to Graham for coming on to Olivia's show. Unfortunately, he busted his hand in the fight, broke his hand, so he's going to be out for a while. I spoke to Graham. Yaser Al-Ghena returned after 9 months. He's had some medical issues. Looked really impressive. Just really, and I've got high hopes for Yaser, real high hopes. Ish O'Connor is one that I said to him, I'll give you the conversation. After the fight, I've just got this thing about Ish O'Connor. I think he's going to be a superstar. Sounds crazy, right, for a kid that had no amateur fights, right? I think this kid could be a superstar. And I went to see him after the fight and I said, when I signed you, and I spoke to him and his trainer, Jamie Monk, who's doing a brilliant job with him, I says to Ish, when I signed you, I thought, fucking hell, this is going to be a hard slog. I saw his first fight and I went back to Kev and Josh and I said, he's really good, And they said, I can't be that good with that experience. I said, I honestly think he's that good. And they said, so anyway, I saw him fight again and I thought, he really is that good. And I spoke to Jordan Granham. Jordan goes, he hit me so hard in the second round, he buzzed me. He said, I didn't want to know.
And Jordan doesn't get hit.
Jordan doesn't get buzzed, right? He buzzed Jordan Granham. Anyway, so after the fight, Xavier Miller turned around to Kevin and he said, who's that kid? He's one of your most talented kids you got on your books. Ish O'Connor. So Xavier Miller saw it as well. So I now class myself as an excellent judge because Xavier's a brilliant judge. And I actually think this kid is special. Yeah, he's got nothing in the pedigree to say it, but he really is.
He doesn't have a CV to
Watch
suggest
for
it.
Ish O'Connor. This kid is going places.
And he looks the part as well.
He's going places.
I know that doesn't count for an awful lot, but he looks the part.
He really is going places. I really rate him. Really rate him. Denis Denikajev took on a really hard fight with Ben Fields. We knew that before. They really fancied it. Denis won the first 2 rounds, lost the last 2 rounds. He was very tired in the 4th with the pressure that Ben was putting on him, but he didn't lose. He got a draw, but he will come on an absolute bundle for that experience. A draw doesn't matter. He's still going to be a champion, Denis. I really rate him, but he didn't. In that fight, for whatever reason, he was overpowered towards the end of the fight, and that cost him the draw. I had him slightly nicking it, but you couldn't argue with the draw. But full credit to Ben Fields, he gives you value for money wherever he fights.
Was that the one that last week his manager rang up and asked, "Are you sure you want this fight?"
Yes, that's him. But Denis wanted it. They had a draw, but I'll get the fight to you. Really, real cracking fight, and really good. Brandon Ball returned after his. He just got hit chin, didn't he, last time? But he fought Robbie Forster, who put on a brilliant contest. He's rough and ready, and Brandon will learn a lot from that. But I was glad to see him come back with a win. And Jack Newham, unfortunately, had a bad experience because he got headbutted accidentally by Haim Chowdhury, brought up the worst swelling on his eye, and it was so bad, it was just ballooning on the side of his head. It was ballooning, and then while he was swelling, he got hit as well and decked.
Right.
But that was after he had already been headbutted, and basically what happened was the referee called it a technical draw. But it was very difficult for Jack. Jack's coming up to see me tomorrow. Jack is still I still think Jack's going to be a champion, but we're going to bring him down in weight. These guys are too big for him at that weight, and they're able to outman him to a certain extent. Jack will be, but he needs to come down towards the super featherweight, lightweight division, and he's going to be a champion. But we've got to get the weight off, and he's got to mix it with that type of weight. But I've still got total faith in Jack. That's just one of those things. He got head-butted and then hit. So that's just that fight is really one for the waste paper bin. It doesn't really matter. And he got a draw. So that's really the summary of the show. It was a good show and lots of exciting prospects. And I'd say for some of these fighters on there, you probably go, I'm really excited about what the future brings. Some of them more immediately than others. But there's some brilliant fights for Muheeb, for Jack. Brandon's going to develop. Denis is going to be a great fight. Ish is going to be a star. Yaser, I'm really excited about Yaser. Adrian Redman's going to be a champion, and obviously Brad's going to move on. It was some real good, and Neil Parry improved. It was a great night to see what I think we can do with these fighters moving forward.
Yeah. 2 questions I want to run through on it. First one, do you get, I'm trying to think of the right terminology, frustrated maybe, that there aren't more stoppages out of it? Because the only stoppage of the night was Brad Paul's, wasn't it? Aside from the head clash for Jack Newham.
I like to see, sometimes it's good to see stoppages, but it depends on what you're looking to do with your fighters. Sometimes you're looking for rounds, other times you're looking for people that are vulnerable.
Yeah.
When you're moving a lot of these fighters towards big fights, then you need them to do rounds. Very important. So you're putting them in with people who are going to test them.
Yeah, I realise there are some tough bastards in that away corner.
But yes, do like to see stoppages. But on the other hand, it's more important about guiding the careers correctly. And I think if you go and get a real vulnerable opponent who's going to go down in 2 rounds, it may look good, but it's not necessarily as competitive as you'd want it to be.
Yeah.
So it depends on how the stoppage is. If it's a stoppage in a really explosive fight, that's different. But when you're talking about a fight, some of those fights, then you're looking to do the rounds. Now, a fight that could end up in a stoppage is coming up is Mark Little fighting Ken Copinion on the 29th of June. Now, Ken Copinion is a journeyman who bangs hard, but he can get caught. So there could be a stoppage in that fight, but they may go the distance. So somebody might say, "Oh, it went the distance," but it's going to be a great fight, and it's a perfect fight for Mark Little if he's going to move on to better fights. So that's what it is some of the time. You do like to see some stoppages, but Brad provided that in the main event. But the rest of them, the actual some of those fights, including the Denis Denikajev fight, they were great to watch. There were some really good fights there. So it wasn't one of the best. I think even Livia said it wasn't the best show she's ever promoted, but it was competitive and she could see what was going on. And I think, in an ideal world you'd like 2 or 3 stoppages thrown in, but it wasn't really that type of night. I think
I'd love to be able to just track and just fast forward 12 months and see where all those lads are in 12 months. But I'll always forget to do that in 12 months anyway.
But you know what? A lot of it depends on whether those lads keep their head screwed on and don't get caught out by somebody giving them, whispering in their ear and bullshitting loads of nonsense. Because a lot of boxers' careers are ruined by listening to somebody going something like, oh, you want to get away from that Goodwin, he can't deliver you this, he won't deliver you that, we can do this, we can do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then they either go at the end of the 3 years or they want to buy themselves out of a contract or whatever. And then they go and do this thing, and it 9 times out of 10 plus it all goes pear-shaped and wrong. So a lot of it depends on whether they allow the people that are looking after them now, the trainer, myself as a management and our management team, to look after them and deliver them. And if they trust us in the process, they'll do it. What you'll see is some of those that go way haywire, it tends to go wrong for them.
Yeah. Second question was, what does a week look like for you after the Saturday? So on the Sunday you tend to chill, don't you? Like Craig David almost is.
Yeah, you tend to chill. If a fighter has lost or something's gone really wrong, I will ring them on the Sunday. So this Sunday I spoke to Jack Newham, went to hospital.
Right.
So after the fight, I got a text. My first thing after we left your call was to be in contact and find out how he was, which I did. I then spoke to his dad on Sunday about 6 o'clock. And so my Sunday was spent, I was knackered in the afternoon, watched a bit of thing, then thought the one I need to speak to today is Jack Newham.
Because you don't get home till very late.
No, very late. So Sunday is really chilling out or speaking to the boxers I feel I need to speak to. So I spoke to Jack. Then Monday was a day of going through and doing all the financial statements for my boxers, because you have to do that under the regulation. You have to, when a boxer fights, you have to send them a financial statement within 7 days.
Okay.
If you don't, you breach your management contract, and you can get terminated if you don't do that.
Oh right.
So that's why most managers lose their boxers, because they don't do the. Yeah, you got to do that. So we do that. Email them the statements. Make sure that everything's all tidied up with that, and then I'll go through the process of ringing them or meeting them. Like Muheeb come up Monday because I wanted to make a quick decision for him. So I met Muheeb Fazeldin on Monday. I've spoken to all the boxers now that are fought and the trainers to discuss what the plans are next. Those that are going towards up in class, we've made decisions for them. I've made 2 fights this week, 2 big 10-round fights this week. And now we're on Wednesday. It's now calm. It's all done. All my work is done.
So does that mean you go back to doing the financial advisory work?
Yeah, I'll do a lot. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be doing financial advisory work because my job is done. All the boxers know where we are. We've got the title fights ready. I will now go back to my proper job, and I will do that tomorrow. Kevin will
earn your actual money out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin will be here to look after any of the boxing issues now this week, because there is nothing for me to do now. It's all done and planned, and then it then rolls on to the next show where we've got fighters. Same process again, but I make sure that it's very important after a fight that you're in contact with the boxer or his team to decide exactly what we're doing next and how they've performed and everything.
I suppose you've only got a very small window of opportunity as well, because those lads won't be going back to the gym for a week, 2 weeks maybe, and the trainer's got the buzz and the enthusiasm for that individual.
Yeah, Jack Newham is coming up tomorrow for a meeting, so I'm actually doing a boxing meeting as well tomorrow. So it's a mixture, because we've got a few new potential signings to see over the next 10 days, and then I'm off to Amsterdam on Friday.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going for a weekend. We're going to see Pink.
Jeez. I didn't have you down as a Pink fan.
It's Trisha.
Although I have heard someone I used to work with, who was well into like his rock music, said Pink was the best concert he'd ever seen live.
Okay, so I've seen it twice. I'm going to Amsterdam this week, and I'm going to Anfield 10 days later.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to it twice.
I'm seeing Elton John this weekend.
Yeah, it should be good. I'd love to see Elton John. I'd love to see Elton John. Love to see Elton John. So that's my week. My week after it's a little bit. It's very busy, and then from there, I don't normally work Mondays, as you know, but I work this Monday just to get everything tidied up. But yeah, it's been great, and as you probably can tell, I'm now very enthused.
Yeah, you have a different energy than
maybe 12 months ago.
Yeah,
and and the difference is, as you know, the last month I've had to deal with things that aren't very pleasant, and you think you're an arsehole, but I handle it differently now because I deal with it, bin it, and carry on looking. Whereas before I'd think, you arsehole, how can you behave like this to me? Do you know what I mean? I would, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And I'd feel down in the dumps and be analysing why you're an arsehole.
Not me.
Not you, but
well,
not you particularly.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But there you just think, you're an arsehole, that's life.
Yeah.
Move back. And that's why it's different, because I'm not taking that on board and taking it personally.
But you're still learning within this sport, aren't you? I mean, you've had, what, 7 years?
9 years of promoting, 5.5 years of managing.
Yeah, so I mean, you're still learning. It's still formative to some extent.
Yeah, to learn about how people function. And you've got to remember, this is like a TV show, right? Where the players interchange. You get new characters come in, and you think, what are they up to? You know, what? And most of these characters, you call them they come in and you think, you don't behave ethically or honourably, and you're behaving badly, but you see them come in, and then some last for longer, some are going to, but you learn out how they behave, and then you learn how to be, you then can suss out what's going on. And that's how it is. It's like that. You just see these new people coming in.
And some of them aren't bad people, but they don't last, like Tommy Dove, for instance.
But he wasn't, when I just said about acting not honourably, he wasn't one of them.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He's a good guy. But why did he not last? Because he's a good guy. And he got screwed by the arseholes.
Yeah.
Tommy Dove got screwed by the arseholes. And that's basically why he didn't last. And it's a real shame for boxing that Tommy Dove did not last.
Yeah.
So he's not one of them. But other people, which I wouldn't want to discuss on here, because you can't, because you
probably lose your life.
Probably get sued or whatever. If I ever pack up boxing, I can write a book. The bottom line is that I just have accepted that as the norm now, and I've accepted bad behaviour as the norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all.
All right. New signings. New signing
this week. Lewis Everson, big punching middleweight. He's been likened to me to be a junior version of Brad Pauls.
What is it with big punching middleweights coming out of Devon?
I know, it's mad. Plymouth, yeah. So I mean, here we go. So he apparently hits like a train. So I'm really excited for him. But I spoke to Jamie about him today. Jamie Spate was from that way, and he just said, no, he could be very, very good, and he hits so hard. So Lewis Everson is the one we've signed. We've still got 3 or 4 more signings to announce, which we'll do over the next week. So we're not short of people wanting to come to us, and that's why it's really nice when people come to us and say, we want to sign with you because you're ethical and you look after everybody. You want all that, and you might get somebody doing something they shouldn't do, but when you're continuing to get that, it does keep you motivated, and you see success like for Brad, and you see people having success in their boxing careers, and you help to build them up. It's great. It's great.
When I saw that you signed Everson, I thought it was like a centre mid. It sounds very, very Brazilian.
Yeah, it does. But there we go. But he's going to be exciting. So he should be out October, November. So brilliant. So that's our new signing of the week.
There are no fights to announce, but
well, you've got the KayProspere was officially announced the date. We've announced the date for that, which is the 7th of September.
So the rematch with Samuel Mason.
7th of September. Josh is promoting that, and that's all happening at your call. That's some card, that.
Some of those other fights we were discussing before. Two of
those other fights were on that card.
Right.
And 2 of the other ones are on the 21st of September, which Alan Budgeon's promoting. So those.
Alan's got his licence now.
He's had his second. He's already had a show. It's the second show.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, I didn't realise.
You don't. Yeah, he just sits in the background. Doesn't he?
No.
He's like our John Wishouse, I think. Just nobody knows he's there, and he's doing promoting in his own right now. But he's learnt enough to do it. He's been working behind the scenes for. He's been there since day one at 9 years ago. So he's now promoting in his own right, and he enjoyed doing it, and he's promoting that one. And I
want to see Alan front and centre doing IFL interviews. I want to see the whole lot out of Alan.
Yeah, true. He just, no matter what you throw at him, he'd just be calm.
Yeah.
Just be like, you can never upset him. And So Alan's doing that, and there's 2 of those fights are going on there. And then there's so many more fights to work on. September's going to be a bonanza time. Trust me, your call on the 7th and the 21st are going to be major sellouts.
Yeah.
And the 28th I haven't even started on yet, but I'm working on that show as well.
There's some decent fights.
We'll see what we'll work on.
Hopefully can announce them next week.
All of them we should be able to announce next week.
Yeah, there's some fun fights on there.
Great. So that's good. So but next
yeah,
week we'll be able to
Prospere
announce
Amazon
is the one that's and it's not even it's not going to be even the main. It probably won't be the main event.
Yeah.
It'll be a joint main event, but there's other fights that are probably, So it's some great fights on. So excellent.
Cool. Right, so keep those dates in your diary. September 7th, September 21st.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, we'll move on to some questions, because we've got loads of them this week. So thank you very much to everyone who submitted one. Make sure I start at the top. Not that one. That's an inappropriate picture.
Is that one of your porn ones?
That's one of many, yeah.
The only thing is, it's 2 men.
A married man, you got to get what you get, don't you? Boxing IQ on Twitter, for fuck's sake. Is Arfan Iqbal still fighting?
Not at the moment. He told me he's having some time out. He's coming down to our awards summer party. He's coming down. He's coming down to that, so we'll touch base, but not at the moment. He may come back, but I think it's a 50-50 call whether he wants to.
It'd be a shame if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think it depends. He's had a baby. They had a baby, and at the end of last year, and I think there's other priorities. I think I'm not saying he won't come back, but I think he's just taking a bit of time out.
He's got things outside of boxing, hasn't he? That keep him
he's involved in a flooring company, and he's doing some other stuff. So I think it's down to him, and I think it's hard. I think he finds it hard to get motivated unless there's something big on the horizon.
Yeah.
But the problem, because Arfan doesn't keep himself in shape, he needs a long time for that fight to be given to him, and you don't get that. So therefore, that's the problem. He'd want 3 months to get ready, maybe, and you're not going to get 3 months.
Yeah. Paul Altar on Twitter. How do you keep Linus and Brad from a collision course when they're so close in terms of rankings, etc.?
Well, good doing it.
So is it that you have to start plotting? I mean, we know Linus, and we'll come on to that in a minute, but has his English title shot lined up. Brad, do you then have to almost plot simultaneously? So you've got Linus going for that, Brad there, and then you have to move them together, or go down that route and avoid.
We could do. They're not going to fight each other, so you've got to be realistic that Linus has won a final eliminator for the English, but Brad's now won a title. So you have to you've moved Linus over to there because of the nonsense that we had over the southern area, and Brad went through and picked that up, because remember, Linus should have been fighting for that.
Yeah.
So I just manoeuvred them, and things are so changeable in boxing. I can't say we're going to do this, and this. It's being smart and knowing how to take advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean, there are so many times I've had conversations with you about what the formative plan is for a boxer, and then 2 weeks later that plan's out the window, and now it's...
You've got a structure, but I can't say, for example, this is how I'm going to deal with Linus' situation, because you're then telling everybody what I'm planning to do, and you can't really do that, because if you put it on here, then people can try and block it.
Yeah.
So I've got the element of surprise and know what I'm doing is something that I keep to myself.
Yeah, but when I say about like something comes up 2 weeks later, it's not that you're winging it, it's that an opportunity has opened up or arisen that you'd never foreseen 2 weeks
No, I know exactly where Linus is going, 100% which direction he's going, and there's no, he will be in a big televised fight, provided he keeps winning, six months' time. But we could go and do a deal now, I'm sure, with a TV company, but we need, in my opinion, we need to wait that 6 to 9 months where they really want him.
Yeah. To follow on from that, LPC1231 on Twitter says, on the flip side of this, will we see Linus and Brad fight each other? I'll take a punt.
Yeah.
Go down to the gym.
See him spar.
Yeah, go down to the gym. Club KO in Loughton.
They spar.
Yeah, they basically fight each other.
Spars are worth watching.
Yeah, I've been there. I've sparred both of them. I've watched both of them spar. They go for it.
We should hold an open sparring one day and let people come and watch. Fun. Maybe we could do that. I'll speak to Terry. Maybe he'll do it.
Because now you've got Jake Ball training with Terry as well.
Yeah, might be cool. When Brad comes back and he's a cruiserweight getting down to light middle.
Yeah, well, Linus has got a fair bit to lose at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Problem with Linus is that even when he's like overweight, he still looks so trim with it, doesn't he? Like, he put a photo up the other day saying, I can't remember what it was, a kilo over or something.
Yeah.
5 I've no idea, but I thought, fuck's sake, like, if I look like that, I'd be happy.
No, he looks good. He does keep himself in good
order. Bastard. Heavens Above on Twitter. What's your opinion on Big Daddy Bunt, Steve Bunt's views on those that illegally stream pay-per-views? So for those that haven't seen this, he put up a tweet the other day that I can't work out, if I'm honest, if it's genius or madness. That for all those people that stream a pay-per-view, think about how you would feel if the fighter in the pay-per-view fight died in that fight, and then his family never got the full amount of money they should have got because you streamed it.
Okay, so let's look at the pay-per-view model. Sometimes a fighter will only get £1 off of the pay-per-view money.
Right.
Sometimes they might get, because you've got to remember, you've got to share between the fighter, the promoter. They might get
Sky.
They might get £4 at a point. £4 of the 10 of the 10 or £8 of the 20, but more likely somewhere between £1 and £8. Sometimes Sky will take the first 300,000 buyers and keep it. Okay. It's a various different model. So the fighter really isn't getting all that money. So let's put that to bed. Fighters are earning millions on pay-per-views, right? I paid for the Joshua Ruiz fight. I could have streamed it, but I chose to pay. Right? That's the thing. But I could have streamed it. I chose to pay it. I wanted to watch the undercard. I wanted to watch the whole thing. However, there are too many pay-per-view shows that I class to be average, and I wouldn't pay for them because I think it's dishonourable for the fighter to be taking pay-per-view money, because I don't think they're worth that. So therefore, if somebody said to me, a friend said to me, should I buy or should I stream? I'd probably say, if you don't think it's if you think the card is really, really worth it and it's a proper pay-per-view fight, I think you should pay for it.
Yep.
Because morally, I think you should buy for that fight, but I don't want to go into individual situations, but there are plenty you think, that should never be pay-per-view.
But turn it around. If you told me you've got Fury Wilder, I'll pay for that. Cool.
Correct.
If you told me you've got Callum Smith Canelo, I'll pay for that. Not a problem. I'm surprised BT didn't pay-per-view Warrington Galahad this week.
But they pay-per-view Fury Schwartz.
But they pay-per-view Fury Schwartz.
If somebody said to me, I am going to stream Fury Schwartz, I would just think,
yeah,
it should be pay-per-view. So it's a bit of a moral dilemma. What you've got to remember is some fighters are getting pay-per-view money for fights when it shouldn't be pay-per-view, and it's exploitation of the fans. So you can go on about the boxers, but what about the fans that are technically being exploited, who are so addicted to boxing that they want to pay, and then they can't really afford it, so they're going to stream it. But I think from the point of view is it's not as clear cut as that. That's what I'm trying to get across.
The problem for me is the model is fucked. Like, fundamentally, the model of boxing on TV is fucked. So if I pay for Sky Sports, I'm paying 40 quid a month.
Yeah.
Now, predominantly, I want to watch football and boxing. They're the two things that most people that probably watch this will want to watch. So if I want to do that, same with, BT Sport, 20 quid a month. I'm probably guaranteed 3 top-class football matches per week out of that on each channel. So that's what, say that it's 2 hours worth of programming, you're guaranteed 360 minutes worth of footage for that sport, for football, per week. Per week. Now, for boxing, I'm lucky if I get 1 show per month. And that isn't necessarily going to be the top class. It might be a next-gen show. I'm watching Premier League football over here, and I'm watching next-gen shows over here. Now, if you want to charge me then on top of that, when I'm only getting a very small percentage of the amount of football that I'm getting, now I don't have to pay extra to watch a Champions League game. If I've already got a BT Sports subscription, I don't have to pay extra to watch an England game. I don't have to pay for any of that. Yet I'm being asked to pay extra for Fury Schwartz, which is a fucking joke. Like, that is a joke that you're being asked for somebody who, like, Schwartz is what, like 30th in the world ranked, something like that, say, to fight Fury. 99 times out of 100, we know the outcome of that fight already. Like, to be asked to pay extra for that is a shambles for me. White Reavers, I'm not happy that you're being asked to pay that. It's a closer fight, granted, but I'm not watching the elite of the sport. Now, in football, they did try the pay-per-view model years back, and they binned it because nobody bought it. But boxing is so starved of content. There's enough football content already that you don't have to pay for that additional stuff. Boxing is so starved of content that as a fan, you can exploit that and say, well, you're going to have to pay for that on top. And because we don't get enough free-to-air or enough free on Sky, and I say free with air quotes because it's not free because you're paying for Sky anyway, that you're exploiting fans' desire to watch something, their appetite for it, by ripping the arse out of the market and asking people to pay. That's where I see the problem being, that there just isn't enough like free-to-air content within your subscription cost.
Agreed.
Bit of a rant. Sorry.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
We'll move on. Mikey at Analyze Boxing on Twitter. Where do you see Goodwin boxing in 5 years' time?
Again, that's a difficult.
It is, isn't it?
Because if you.
But I know Kev wants to hear the answer. Kev was looking forward to that one.
I think you always ask me, but you know the problem is, 5 years ago, the model was somewhat different. Eddie Hearn was just getting the Sky contract. MTK didn't exist.
Yep.
Dylan White wasn't running his own shows in effect on a pay-per-view model and putting fighters on there because of his power, because he wanted pay-per-view.
British Warriors didn't exist.
British Warriors didn't exist. Mickey Elliott was the #1 London promoter, controlling everything. Maybe 8 years ago.
Box Nation was Frank Warren's platform. BT didn't have a boxing offering.
So it's really hard to know who the players are going to be in 5 years' time. And it's a situation of, in particularly difficult times, I think, for even management, where you've seen today what goes on. These people contact boxers directly and who aren't even really boxing people as such, and this is that you've got to see which way the television model goes. For us to be any different than we are today, we would need to be given a TV contract.
Yeah.
And it would mean that Sky would have to split, and they would have to come to us because we would be able to run these shows and bring boxers in and run the show and do it from scratch, or they may want to take in an MTK who already have lots of fighters and let them become their broadcaster. It depends on which way the TV networks want to go. So it's very hard to actually make. I mean, you would have thought 3 years ago ITV were going to make a big play. It's just a damn squib. Channel 5 are not bothering anymore. Eurosport doesn't really feature.
They've had boxing.
They've started and have stopped. So it's very hard to actually say that. What you do know for sure is if we don't have a TV contract, we will just be the best management group out there in terms of the value that we provide, the great thing we provide. And what you hope is, because we're ethical, decent, honest, work our nuts off, all of us here, that we will get the break we need. Yeah. And we need that break, because if we are given a TV contract or a TV platform, we will be great at it. But it's like breaching that gap. And when you see the people that get given TV stuff, I'm just like gobsmacked.
You've said before, it seems like personality over product.
And connection.
Yeah. Tim Brown on Twitter. How close is Jamie Spate to being back?
Well, we spoke today, he's doing his medicals next week. He fights Dave Birmingham on the 29th of this month. Yeah. That's
an interesting fight. Is Jamie going to go for it?
Yeah, he's fighting Gavin McDonnell next month.
Is he?
Yeah.
Crikey. Because that's Dave Birmingham's last fight, I think, isn't it?
Jamie's going to go, but he won't win down there, will he? Come on, they're not going to give it against Dave, are they? No, he's going to fight. No, we've got 3 fights lined up, but the first one is the Dave Birmingham fight.
All right, and a follow-up as well. In your opinion, who are the best 3 smaller trainers in the country, i.e. not people like Joe Gallagher, Adam Booth?
Right, 2 of them are Goodwin boxing trainers, and I'm not going to mention them. But it's going to piss off, it would upset the others that I don't mention.
Okay.
That's
fair enough. Same, you don't pick a favourite boxer.
I can't do that. But the third one is a chap called Kevin Marie.
Yes.
Do you know Kevin?
Up north.
Up north. Now, people don't know this man, but he's a brilliant trainer.
He took Michael Devine on, didn't he, when he was coming back?
He used to have the guy that fought George, Kenny Anderson, he trained. He's trained a lot of fighters. He used to train Frampton.
Yeah.
Before he was poached from him. It's just what happens, right? He's a really top class trainer, but he's been shit on, right? Like a lot of other people in boxing. But he's a really good, decent guy, supremely talented.
Cool. There you go.
I'm surprised he hasn't walked away from boxing for things that have happened to him, but he's great. And the other 2 I can't mention because it wouldn't be fair on the other Goodwin boxing trainers.
But if you're a Goodwin boxing trainer, just think it's you. Sam O'Reilly of Fight Talk. What's the current situation with Linus's English title fight?
Right, I can't go into too much detail, but Linus is mandatory for the English, and the champion has the option to do a voluntary. But the champion is instead fighting Felix Cash for the Commonwealth title.
Right.
On the 6th of July, I think it is, 6th of July, that weekend. All will be revealed after that fight.
Okie dokie. William Joyce on Twitter. Do you think the WBC have an agenda against Dillian Whyte, as he has been the #1 contender for over 500 days without a title shot?
Possibly. Do you know what? It's a real difficult thing because if you ask me about other things such as the Linus situation, English titles, British titles, I can tell you and I can give you an honest opinion. But for me to say that Suleiman is doing it for this reason or that reason, I don't know any more than anybody else does.
I think there's 3 big factors in it. I think 1, Breazeale and Wilder had that big altercation in the hotel where Breazeale's missus got pushed.
That's right.
And I suspect him being pushed in was to avoid any form of legal action
that makes sense.
Somewhere. 2, I think Whyte has not always got the best attitude towards doing it. So when he puts up tweets like taking the piss, basically, I don't think that necessarily helps the cause. I understand why he does it. I'm not convinced it always helps the cause. 3, he didn't take that final eliminator opportunity he had with Luis Ortiz for the WBC. Instead, he fought Joseph Parker, I think it was at the time.
I think people missed the fact that Dylan has not taken certain fights.
He didn't take Kubrat Pulev for the IBF final eliminator, which Hughie Fury eventually went and took. He didn't take Luis Ortiz as final eliminator options. Now, I get why he didn't do it, because he had financial opportunities elsewhere. I think one was the Lucas Brown fight, and I think one was...
But then the WBC aren't getting their sanctioning fees that they want, and they're thinking, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that is how it works sometimes in business, doesn't it? Forget it's boxing, it works in business.
Yeah.
You've got to negotiate. If, for example, you do something to an organisation that they think you've turned them down for a final eliminator, then they're going to say, fuck you, you're going to sit for longer. So there does become that. But the real reason they're doing it may be that, but it's really hard for me to... We're surmising. You're surmising, and you're probably right in those things together. But
I think there are a multitude of factors. That's just a guess. That it could be 1, 2,
it's got to be. It's got to be something that's pissed them off. That's for sure.
Stirls28 on Twitter. With Amir Khan that hard up for money, he has to send his wife on national TV to say she should be paid to stay at home and look after the kids. Which was a brilliant interview. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. Was it serious?
No, but she did an interview on like a Good Morning
I knew she was
TV programme. And she was just saying about how housewives should be paid more than surgeons and stuff like that. Which housewives do an amazing job. My wife is a housewife. She does a fantastic job raising the kids.
So doing the washing, you should be paid more than somebody that saves somebody's life.
Well,
really, okay.
Maybe more than her surgeon. I've seen it.
There's plenty of work, isn't she? Maybe she's short-changed. Maybe that's the reason that she...
Maybe she's annoyed with them.
Maybe she's pissed them off and not paying them enough.
Yeah. Does this now mean, though, that Khan versus Brook will happen? Did you see, because he's fighting Khan, out in Doha, is it?
Do you know who's on the undercard?
Prince Patel.
Sajid Abid.
Is he?
He's going over there as well.
Oh, right. I know Prince Patel's fighting for the IBO.
Yeah, I hope it all comes off and everybody gets looked after over there. But yeah, Sajid Abid is going to... I've signed a contract for him today to go on the undercard.
That's so random. It's brilliant.
Totally, yeah.
But there was a Khan interview where he started talking about, I want this fight out of the way and then I want the Brook fight. And he's always said, like, it's always been Brook chasing him, but he now seems to say that. And I just think, I don't give a fuck.
But I don't either, but he's doing it. Where's Kell Brook at the moment?
Probably on the piss.
Well, Kell Brook isn't really around to do the fight.
Yeah.
So it's very easy.
He's not going to be in camp at the moment.
It's very easy to call Kell Brook out. Kell Brook's been chasing that fight forever, and you're calling Kell Brook out at a time when he's not really around or doing anything.
I feel for Kell Brook so much.
Yeah. To me, I just think Kell Brook's pissed off with it also.
Yeah.
And I think
don't blame him.
It's easy for Khan now to start calling him out. Just the whole thing's just a joke. I'm not interested.
Richard Lodder on Twitter. Who would win in a fight between one AJ-sized knockout CP Freshmart and 10 knockout CP Freshmart-sized AJs?
What the fuck does that mean?
Knockout CP Freshmart's like the flyweight. So if you had one of him but AJ-sized versus 10 AJ-sized CP Freshmart. I don't know.
I don't know.
Crikey. I'm going with the AJ size CP Freshmart. He's got the coolest name in boxing. UK Boxing Wong on Twitter. Thoughts on the whole Heyman PBC ITV UK situation? It's all gone very quiet. It seems the majority of the 15 shows they announced have been US fights so far.
You said you're bored with Khan and Brook.
Yeah.
I'm bored of ITV.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Cool. Done. British Boxing Blog on Twitter. I like this because there's a whole multitude of options you could go for. This is the final question as well, by the way.
By the way, that's because I think ITV could have taken over boxing and could have been a major player, and whoever's involved in it, and I know it's not necessarily the people that's names associated to it, whoever's making these decisions, they just need shooting.
There's so many potential points of failure that you
How many times have we gone back over this? And ITV, they're going to make a big surge. Nothing happens. Just a shame, and I'm just bored. Until somebody wants to do ITV properly, it's just something I don't want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it is the biggest platform.
It could be amazing. Could be amazing for boxing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
British Boxing Blog on Twitter. If you had to pick just one quality for a boxer, what would you choose? Before you answer that, because I started thinking about this when I was at work today, I thought, there's so many options, because there's outside the ring and there's inside the ring. Do you take speed, power, intelligence? Do you take ticket sales?
Loyalty.
There you go.
Full stop. Non-questionable. You can have all the speed in the world. If you're a disloyal bastard and a scumbag and you're going to try and screw one person up for the other, then that does it. Even if you become a champion, then I don't think you deserve it. There are and I could go through a list of very loyal boxers who have really made it and have done better than they should have done. Like Kawasaki with his dad.
Yep.
He was told to dump him by all these people. He stayed loyal. And there are other people out there that have been
Josh
loyal.
Warrington. Steve Wood as much as his dad as well.
Josh Warrington, absolute amazing, and what he's done. This is what I would take. It shows loyal people can get better results. The ones that chop and change and do what I consider the disloyal, they don't. When you look at it at the end of it and you analyse their careers, most of the time it never goes well for them. Or it never goes as well as it could have done. They may be champions, but they've ripped off financially. Somebody's had them over, and they complain about boxing being a bad sport. What a scumbag industry! Well, you're the scumbag that was disloyal to the person who would have helped you and protected you. Loyalty.
There you go. Awesome. Right, that's all the questions done.
Brilliant.
Sorted. So remember to subscribe. Because then you get more of Steve's rants. If that got kept in, we'll see.
If not, we'll leave Kevin. So there'll be a controversial comment. And it's Kevin's decision whether it stays in or not.
Yeah, so you may or may not know what we're talking about, depending on if it did. But there we go. Right, we'll be back next week
with loads of fights to announce.
Yes, loads. which, as again, keep your September free.
One of the fights we're going to announce is going to be controversial, but you'll have to read the press release to understand why it's happening, because people are going to go, why have you allowed that fight to happen? Why do you want to do that fight? And you'd need to read the press release to understand why.
Need to understand the story and the narrative.
And I will go through it next week. I will go through it in detail next week, but and you need to understand why and what's happened for what reason. So.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Please get us near to the 1,000.
Lovely. See you then.
Thanks a lot.